In the aftermath of the legendary Trojan War, amid the ruins of fallen Troy, one man stood alone, his gaze fixed upon the distant horizon. Odysseus, king of Ithaca, renowned for his cunning and valor, longed for home. Yet, fate had decreed that his journey would be anything but swift. Stranded on the island of Ogygia, Odysseus languished in the luxurious captivity of the nymph Calypso. For 7 years, he yearned for his homeland, his heart heavy with the weight of longing. But Calypso, enamored by the mortal king, refused to release him, ensnaring him in her web of enchantment. Moved by Odysseus' plight, the mighty Zeus dispatched Hermes, the messenger god, to Ogygia with a decree: Calypso must set Odysseus free. Reluctantly, the nymph complied, providing him with the means to fashion a raft and embark on his perilous journey home. But as Odysseus set sail upon the wine-dark sea, the wrath of Poseidon, god of the sea, descended upon him like a tempest. Enraged by Odysseus' blinding of his son, the Cyclops Polyphemus, Poseidon sent storms to buffet the weary traveler, threatening to dash his hopes upon the rocky shores. Odysseus faced trials aplenty on his homeward odyssey. He encountered the lotus-eaters, whose intoxicating fruit threatened to ensnare his men in blissful oblivion. He braved the treacherous straits of Scylla and Charybdis, where the monstrous whirlpool threatened to swallow his ship whole. On the island of Aeaea, Odysseus encountered the sorceress Circe, whose beguiling charms ensnared his men in a spell of transformation. With the aid of Hermes, Odysseus resisted Circe's enchantments and secured her aid in his journey, learning of the perils that awaited him on his path home. Guided by Circe's counsel, Odysseus ventured into the realm of Hades, the land of the dead, where he sought the wisdom of the blind prophet Tiresias. Amidst the shadows of the departed, he encountered the shades of fallen comrades and received warnings of the trials yet to come. As he sailed past the Sirens' enchanted shores, Odysseus ordered his men to plug their ears with wax, while he himself, lashed to the mast, listened to the haunting melody that beckoned him to his doom. His resolve unbroken, he resisted the Sirens' call, steering his ship safely past the treacherous rocks. Despite his best efforts to avoid further strife, Odysseus and his men landed on the island of the sun god, Helios, where temptation proved too great for his starving crew. Ignoring his warnings, they slaughtered Helios' sacred cattle, invoking the wrath of the gods once more. As punishment for their sacrilege, Zeus sent a thunderous storm to sink Odysseus' ship and drown his men. Only Odysseus survived, clinging to the wreckage of his raft as he drifted alone upon the vast expanse of the wine-dark sea. Once more, fate intervened, guiding Odysseus to the shores of Ogygia, where Calypso found him battered and broken, yet still alive. With compassion in her heart, she nursed him back to health, offering him shelter and solace amidst the desolation of her island home. But Odysseus' heart remained steadfast in its longing for home. With renewed determination, he beseeched Calypso to release him, promising her eternal gratitude for her kindness. Reluctantly, she acquiesced, providing him with materials to fashion a raft and bid him farewell as he set sail once more. Fortune smiled upon Odysseus at last, guiding him to the shores of the island of the Phaeacians, where he was welcomed with open arms by the benevolent King Alcinous and his gracious queen, Arete. With tears in his eyes, Odysseus recounted his harrowing journey, finding solace in the warm embrace of his hosts. Gifted with a ship and crew by the Phaeacians, Odysseus embarked on the final leg of his journey home. Guided by the stars and the whisper of the wind, he sailed across the wine-dark sea, his heart buoyed by the promise of reunion with his beloved Penelope and his cherished homeland of Ithaca. At long last, the shores of Ithaca loomed on the horizon, bathed in the golden light of dawn. With tears of joy streaming down his face, Odysseus set foot upon the soil of his homeland, his heart overflowing with gratitude for the gods who had guided him safely home. Disguised as a beggar by the goddess Athena, Odysseus ventured into the heart of his kingdom, where he found his palace overrun by suitors vying for the hand of his faithful wife, Penelope. With steely resolve, he bided his time, plotting his revenge against the interlopers who dared to defile his home. In a contest of skill and strength, Odysseus, still disguised, faced the suitors in a trial of archery, stringing his own bow and sending an arrow true through the 12 rings of his kingdom. Revealing his true identity in a blaze of glory, he stood triumphant amidst the shocked and dismayed suitors, his honor and authority restored. With the fury of a lion unleashed, Odysseus and his loyal allies descended upon the palace, their swords flashing in the dim torchlight as they cut down the traitors who had defiled his home. Blood flowed like wine upon the marble floors, staining the halls of Ithaca crimson with the justice of the righteous. At last, Odysseus stood face to face with his beloved Penelope, his heart overflowing with love and longing. With tears of joy streaming down her cheeks, she threw herself into his arms, her faith in his return rewarded at last. Together, they embraced their son Telemachus, their family reunited at long last. With the usurpers vanquished and his kingdom restored, Odysseus reclaimed his rightful place as king of Ithaca, his name and his honor celebrated throughout the land. And though the scars of his journey remained etched upon his soul, he found solace in the warmth of his family's love and the peace of his homeland's embrace.